Commissioner, freeze! What do we do with him? We back him up!
As we all know, the world is not black and white. It is full of shades of grey. Which means a villain can do good things as well as bad things. Just like Batman can save the day, but also shatter a guy's skull in the process. And there are many times when a villain actually saves the day as well, or even saves the hero's life. Like when Scarecrow blocked Arkham Knight from killing Batman from his helicopter. Admittedly it was for selfish reasons, but still, he saved him. And that's really the key with villains. They're selfish, but can help others in the process. Such as in Young Justice, when Lex Luthor gives the heroes the software needed to save the day from destruction. He does this for one very simple reason.
It's his world too. Pretty sure he doesn't want it reduced to space dust.
And even though it's a completely selfish and manipulative move, it did still save the planet. And Lex Luthor also helped save the day in Justice League. In one memorable episode, an alternate universe of Justice League heroes, called the Justice Lords, comes to Earth and, well, basically they're evil. And so they take out the League first, then pretend to be them, planning to bring about a dictatorial type peace under their control.
What's with the new costumes, guys?
We just felt it was time for a change.
In their mind, they're not actually evil, but their means definitely are. Meanwhile, in the alternate universe, Batman and Batman have a fight, / chat. And evil Batman convinces good Batman that absolute order is the best course of action.
And with that power, we've made a world where no 8-year-old boy will ever lose his parents because of some punk with a gun.
Of course it's a trick. The good one is just pretending to go along with it in order to show the bad one what the world is actually like for people. And as they drive through the town, they see a man abducted off the street simply because his bill was wrong and he wanted to pay the correct amount. Basically, he just didn't want to get overcharged. And so Batman realises that if people can be abducted in the street for no reason, unless you count overcharging as a legitimate reason, which no one in their right mind would, well then maybe this isn't such a great world. And he turns to the good side, becoming the first villain to help save the day. And he saves the Justice League and gets them home. But since they're so evenly matched, they decide they need an edge. They need Lex Luthor. After all, who knows more about fighting heroes than him, especially when it comes to taking down Superman? And so he teams up with them to save the day, but it's only in exchange for a presidential pardon. Like I said, they're evil, but they can do good things. And this isn't the only time he teams up with the League in this universe. Later on, when the show has become Justice League Unlimited, Luthor decides to unite the Legion of Doom with the Justice League against an alien invasion from Darkseid. Though again, it was for petty reasons.
Darkseid took Brainiac away from me. I can't hear his voice in my head anymore.
You see, earlier on in this world, Luthor ended up being merged with Brainiac, which was great for him and he became insanely powerful. As he puts it, he was a literal god. I mean, who wouldn't want that? That is, of course, until the Flash uses his super speed to blast the alien molecules out of Luthor's system, returning him to human and destroying Brainiac in the process. And so from that day forth, Luthor's quest became to resurrect Brainiac so that he could merge with him once again and become a god once more.
My entire program resides in even the smallest part of me.
I could reconstitute you, bring you back to life.
Yes, we could be together again.
Unfortunately for him, it didn't exactly go as planned. Luthor travelled into space to retrieve Brainiac's last molecules in the universe so that he could re-merge with him. But unfortunately, he ended up resurrecting Darkseid instead, whom promptly blew up their ship, killing them all. Obviously they survived, but that was the intent. Now, a lot of people have actually wondered how one of the smartest guys in the universe could have made this mistake. But I think the answer is actually pretty simple. He didn't. You see, in order to complete this restoration, he had to sacrifice his sorcerer lover. So in revenge, she used her power to change the spell to resurrect Darkseid instead of Brainiac. And thus, she got her revenge from beyond the grave. It does make sense. I mean, she was a very petty woman after all. But anyway, after Luthor accidentally resurrects the most dangerous and powerful warlord in the galaxy, he then goes to Earth and teams up with the heroes to try and save the planet.
Let's be clear about this. We're not here to help you save the world. You're here to help me get revenge on Darkseid.
And in fairness, he does actually sacrifice his own life to take Darkseid out, using the anti-life equation. At least we think he does. It's really unclear how this ends. Though, according to one of the show's writers, Dwayne McDuff, both Luthor and Darkseid have actually become a part of the Source Wall, the same as anyone who solves the anti-life equation in this universe. The Source Wall itself is kind of hard to define, but it's kind of like the wall to the eternal, made up of the bodies of primordials, gods, and beings of that nature. Though I should say that this is just his comments on it, and although he was a writer, that doesn't mean it's canon for the show. Officially speaking, we still don't know what happened to them. As for the rest of the villains, the heroes wanted to lock them up, but instead they gave them a head start before they took them in, as a kind of thank you for helping to save the world. But villains have come together to fight aliens en masse on other occasions, such as in The Batman. In this episode of the classic show, Martian Manhunter reveals himself to Batman, or rather his human guise of Detective John Jones introduces himself, but then Batman becomes suspicious of him as John Jones seems to know his secret identity. And so after some spying, Batman discovers that he's a shapeshifter. And after the obligatory hero vs hero fight, they decide to talk things out as adults and team up. And funnily enough, Batman is actually able to work out that he is a Martian, just from seeing his reaction to fire, as he has a wide knowledge on all subjects, even the alien stories of history, which is why he knows how to block Martian telepathy by using an ancient monk's technique. But anyway, Manhunter informs Bruce Wayne that aliens called the Joining are planning an invasion of Earth, and that they are using his company to do it. They have replaced his staff with android replicants and are shipping alien technology around the world. They do their best to stop them, and are of course victorious, and this event even leads to them forming this universe's Justice League.
The world's changing, Batman. You can go it alone if you want, or step into the larger world.
But this is a big invasion, and they can't be everywhere at once. And so the villains of Arkham defend the Earth in their stead, as this is their planet too. And they team up with the cops to help defeat the alien menace. There's no talk or arrangements or anything like that. They simply just work together. It's one of those great moments where there's just a clear and common enemy right in front of them, so they just band together to stop them and protect their home. It's done almost on instinct, and in a way it's actually kind of beautiful. Of course, there are also times when villains save the day that has very little to do with defending their home. Instead, the villains take each other down purely for petty and selfish reasons that just so happen to help the public. This happens a lot in the Harley Quinn series, most notably in the end of Season 1, when Joker launches his ultimate attack against Gotham and he manages to capture and completely incapacitate Batman. But Harley decides that she is going to take Joker down, mainly because he's an evil narcissist who must hurt her deeply, but also kinda to help the people of Gotham out. And her crew are able to take the Joker out, which in turn causes him to blow up his doomsday weapon, though they also take out Batman at the same time. And though they did also kind of save his life and protect his identity, he is severely injured, and Batman has to bow out of fighting crime for quite a while in order to heal. Whereas Joker, however, gets complete amnesia, and for some reason ends up working as a bartender. Now, this is far from the only time Harley saves the day. She is an anti-hero in this show after all, although half the time she is actually semi-causing the danger to begin with. But she did also team up with the Bat family, and even temporarily joined it to stop a zombie plague that Bruce Wayne actually caused by trying to resurrect his dead parents. Yeah, the show is kinda weird, basically. But she was a solid member of the Bat family, until she had some sort of bad trip while sleepwalking and ended up killing Nightwing. It was a whole thing. Though shortly after this, she left to do her own thing with Poison Ivy, with a brief detour as a member of the Birds of Prey. As for Nightwing, Talia and Damian resurrected him with the Lazarus Pit, and he comes back as Red X to get his revenge, which was actually pretty cool. I mean, I haven't actually seen Red X in animation since the classic Teen Titans show, so it's nice to see him get a modern animation update. Story could have been a bit better, sure, but hey, DC animation is so bad at the moment that we just have to take what we can get. And of course, Harley later stops Brainiac and then the Luthors, though this is more in the moment and kind of more about revenge and survival than anything else. In fact, they didn't even plan to get involved in the whole Brainiac business, but Poison Ivy wanted revenge on her son's killer, and so they had to kill a few people because of this, which did in turn save the Earth and maybe the whole universe. But really, that was only a secondary concern for the duo. But still, the point remains that they did save the day. And finally, I'm going to talk about something I'm always reluctant to enter into my videos, and that is the LEGO games. You see, this channel mainly talks about animation, and I do enjoy the LEGO games, I do, but they are also a bit goofy and silly in places, and I prefer my animation with a bit more maturity in its themes. But still, it can't be denied that the villains in the LEGO games do help out the good guys on quite a few occasions. They team up with the heroes in LEGO Batman 3 to defeat Brainiac, although in a way this doesn't really count because they're all mentally impaired by this emotional ray.
Oh no, poor Superman.
Okay, something is definitely wrong with everybody.
When they were hit by the lights of the different lanterns, it amplified the ring's dominant emotion.
But the villains also team up with the heroes in their own LEGO game, the DC Supervillains one, which is actually a pretty good one, and the plot is basically like that Justice League episode I mentioned. The evil counterparts of the Justice League from a parallel dimension come to the main universe and take out the Justice League and then replace them. Although in fairness, this isn't the Justice Lords, it's actually the Crime Syndicate, but pretty much the same story nonetheless. And the good Justice League are actually being held in special prisons by Darkseid. Meanwhile, the supervillains seem to be the only ones who realise that the Justice League have been replaced. And so they reluctantly set out to save the day and ultimately help the Justice League take down not only the evil Justice League, but also stop Brainiac's evil plan for Earth. It is true that most of the time that the villains actually save the day, it is to stop an alien invasion. I think it's because that's the most realistic, when there's an outside threat that supersedes all other interests, all other greeds. This is so important to survival that they have to band together. So it does make sense it would be this way. Now, this game also had quite a decent budget, so they were able to get voice talents from the Timverse, meaning Kevin Conroy voices Batman, Mark Hamill is the Joker, and so on with the rest. They basically used the most famous voices of the characters instead of just the standard LEGO voices. Just thought I'd mention it. And these are just a few examples of the times that villains have saved the day. Though, in fairness, most of the time it is for petty or selfish reasons, or purely for their own survival and no one else's. I mean, I said that a couple of times, but it is important to note. I do enjoy it when the bad guys team up with the good guys, but let's be honest, they are still bad guys. I mean, really it comes down to they either want to get even with someone, or they want to protect their home from being destroyed. But regardless of the reasons, it's undeniable that they have helped the heroes out many times over the years. And feel free to let us know in the comments which one of these was your favourite, or if you have another favourite time that villains have saved the day. After all, it has happened quite a lot over the years. And I'd just like to quickly remind everyone that we have some merchandise available on our store, and to say thanks to all of you who have donated to the Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.